Hello and welcome back to our Carrier Reposition live stream that we do every week on Sundays. We're on our way out to Colonia. We're going to go ahead and get another 3 jumps in today. Before we do that, let me go ahead and hop into here, start getting the countdown going, because that's a fixed amount of time that we have to get done. Then I have a couple of disclaimers I want to go over real quick for today's episode. Get that carrier destination set. All right, we're all good for that. So a couple of disclaimers and some things to say for the episode. First and foremost, there is an event going on today on the property at which I am, and it gets kind of loud sometimes. And so if you hear children screaming because there's a birthday party going on, or you just hear loud music every once in a while, I don't know if the microphone's going to pick that up, but it could, and that's what's going on. So that's my disclaimer for that. There's some people right over there that are out there kind of shouting a little bit. The other disclaimer is I may have to get up at some point to handle something outside. My wife has a parking spot that is supposed to be reserved for her, and we've had issues in the past. I have a camera monitoring that to make sure that I know what's going on and I can go out there and handle it if somebody tries to park there. We do have it marked off with cones and stuff, but I've had issues with people moving those cones because it's convenient for them. So just wanted to make sure you know that if I have to say, hey, I'll be back in a second, and I need to get up and walk away, I'll put it on the little pause thing, and that'll be what's going on with that. But just want to make sure you guys know up front, I may have to leave intermittently to handle that because she needs to have a place to park. So yeah, and then the other thing is obviously the standard advertisements I do for my channel, such as, you know, like the video, subscribe to the channel, help us reach that 10,000 subscriber mark, go watch other videos when you're done with all of this, well, all the standard stuff I normally do. We got a lot of videos on the channel now. So yeah, I don't really have, I say this every week because it's the same thing every week. I don't really have anything specific that I want to talk about as we're waiting for these jumps to happen. I do want to make sure that, especially I try to bring it up in every one of my Elite Dangerous videos, because, you know, the more I say it, the more people will come across it. I want to try to make this weekly live stream something a little bit more interesting and fun. ideally turn it into something where we can start doing some events where, you know, people have a vested interest in actually showing up and, you know, participating, and turning this into something that, you know, people want to participate in, and then even more people want to watch, even though they don't want to participate. So races, or, you know, in-person combat, or whatever it is that we decide to come up with. I want to try to start, you know, I try to mention it every live stream, every video, everything that I do, because the more I bring it up, the more chance that there is that there's going to be enough people who see that and are interested in it that we actually get something started. So there's always that. Recently stopped playing, I don't remember if it was this week or last week, but yeah, I stopped playing Star Trucker. I just I couldn't I wasn't enjoying it. It has several issues that are intrusive enough that I really need them to go away before I'm going to try to start playing that game again. So I'm waiting for the next update to come out. I did see they did publish a post on the 11th where they were saying that they're working on several phases of things that are being added to the game. Hopefully pretty soon. I don't know how long it's going to take them to actually do that, but we'll just have to wait and see how that ends up working out. But in their first round of updates and fixes and things that they want to do, customizable keybinds is on that list, so that's a really good thing for them to be working on. I still maintain that really should have been something that was implemented when the game was released, but you know, it'll get done, and then that'll be something that we're actually able to do. At which point, I mean, I'm not really sure that that's going to be the thing that gets me to come back. I might wait for joystick control to actually come out. That's in their phase 2 of things that they want to get done, so I'm not really sure how much longer that's going to take. I did see a post somewhere, I think it might have been in the Steam forums, where they were saying, or maybe it was in their post that they put out. They said they were actively working on joystick support for that game, but they weren't happy with how it was turning out. So, and I think it was probably in that post that I read. It's in the Steam like newsletter or whatever that comes out for the different games. So if you go to Steam and click on the actual store page or whatever, it'll give you the news and everything, and I think that's where I found that. So I do eventually plan on getting back to that game once they do some basic upgrades that need to get done. But for now, I'm setting that aside because it's just I don't want to have to have 2 different muscle memories for 2 different games for how I fly things. So I really need the keybinds at the very least to be implemented, and then B, I kind of just want to fly it with a joystick. There's a reason why I fly this game with the joystick, even though I'm perfectly capable of flying with just the keyboard, and you've seen me do it on my earlier videos. You know, I'm perfectly capable of flying it with just the keyboard, but there's a certain amount of control that you lose by having just a digital input where it's on off on off on off. So having the ability to have some kind of a little bit more fine control over steering and preferably throttle and things like that, I think that would be really nice to have. So yeah, when it comes to Star Trucker, that's I'm not saying that I'm never playing it again, but I'm definitely waiting for some of the updates to come out, the upgrades to come out, the the things that they need to fix in the game. Apparently they're updating the fine structure in that game as well, so I'm really hoping that's one of the, I don't remember if that was in the phase 1. I think it was, and that was another thing that was really kind of annoying me about that game, was just the fact that it was the fee structure in that game is a little bit overbearing, and just the way that the fines are laid out and the way that they describe the fines and all that stuff, just the way that it's implemented in general needs some work, at least in my opinion. So yeah, Star Trucker is becoming a thing. Will become a thing later on when they start to fix that. For now, I did start I did go back into my American Truck Simulator series, so we're doing those videos again. I figured since we were not doing Star Trucker anymore, we could do American Truck Simulator again and start doing that. I find that as well, obviously I'm an American, so you know I'm going to lean towards the American trucks, but I do like Euro Truck Simulator as well. It's just they're both basically the same game, just in different locations and with different trucks. And if I have to pick one, I'm going to pick the American one because that's what I like better. I actually do like European. I do like the European style of truck, the cab over style that the European trucks have. I do think that's a really cool design, and I do really like some of the European style trucks more than I like some of the American style trucks. But for the most part, you know, that long nose design of the way the American trucks work, I grew up with it. It's what I'm used to, and it's what we over here think of when you think of like a big semi truck. So it is what it is. I'm playing the American version, and you know, when I first started doing that series, I was actually doing both. I was doing American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator, and I was actually surprised to get a couple of comments of people saying they were disappointed that I gave up on the European version. I would imagine that was probably, I mean, I guess it's Euro Truck Simulator 2, so I would imagine they probably had a Euro Truck Simulator 1, and I imagine that probably came out before any of the other stuff, so Euro Truck Simulator was probably the original, and American Truck Simulator came out after that. I don't really know the timeline. I never really looked it up, so I haven't really thought about it. But it just doesn't make sense for me to do two video series about what is basically the same game. Obviously, the highways and stuff are different. The rules of the road are somewhat different. You know, the trucks are definitely very different. But the gameplay itself is just driving down the road, and that's not really something I want to try to do 2 videos every day of. I guess I could possibly, like, if enough people, if it becomes, I don't know, I kind of took a break from it mostly because nobody was really watching it, and you know, you kind of have to pay attention to that kind of stuff. If nobody's actually watching the content that you're putting out, then you got to change something. And for me, my thing is that I want to play the games, and I want to play them the way I want to play them. So if I can't play them the way I want to play them and people are interested in watching that, then my solution is not to change the way I play the game to make the game more interesting to people. My solution is, well, let me go find another game that I want to play, and hopefully that game is interesting enough that it makes me interested in it and makes me more interesting and that people want to watch. So while I try to not make view counts and all of that stuff the end all be all of my channel, if my videos are really only getting, and like for a while they max out at like 7 or 8 views, I'm like, it's not really worth the time sitting down and recording that. I think that's like, I could find something else that's hopefully a little bit more, a better use of my time. So yeah, I stopped doing the American Truck Simulator series a while back because, you know, just nobody was really interested in watching it. But I kind of decided it's one of those things. I either do videos because they get a lot of views, or I do videos because I just really enjoy playing the game, and if I'm going to be playing it anyways, I might as well share it with you guys. So I'll continue doing the American Truck Simulator until I get tired of it again, or it becomes one of those videos that it becomes one of those games where people actually start watching it, like this one, where I get a consistently decent view count on it, and that makes it worth putting the time and effort into, even if I don't necessarily feel like it. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. You know, a lot of people will try to tell you don't focus on that part, just focus on, you know, creating good content. And it's like, I already create the best content that I'm capable of creating. Like, without, I'm a let's play content creator, so there isn't really too much more I can do to make my content better than it is, because that's just what I do. That's the format that I've chosen. It's the format that I want to do. I'm not really interested in doing any kind of heavily produced, highly edited, any of that, you know, stuff that, you know, a lot of other creators generally try to do to their videos. And that's for a couple of reasons. And I've mentioned these before on previous videos and previous live streams, but it's mostly just, first and foremost, and with full disclosure and honesty, I hate video editing. I already sat down to record the video, and I don't want to have to sit down and do a bunch of editing to the video. And I also really don't want to cut out a bunch of the work that I did playing the game. I know that from a lot of people's perspective, that's a sacrifice that you're supposed to make as a content creator. I get it. That's fine. And to some degree, I agree with that. But me personally, if I played the game, I'm going to keep it in the video. And a lot of that is just because I try to do a lot of prep. I try to do a lot of like active engagement and thinking while I'm doing videos, so that I can kind of make sure that things are set up in a way that it stays interesting throughout the entire video. And I try to make it so that I can step in when not super interesting things are happening, and I can just talk about something to keep the interest going until something else interesting happens. So, you know, you see it during our during my regular Elite Dangerous videos. We'll be flying around, jumping from star to star, and I'll just be talking about something random until, you know, something interesting pops up. So I'm like, oh, let's go look at that. And then while we're flying to it, I'll talk about something until we do the scanning process. So it's more like just, you know, I try to fill the silence with as many interesting things as I can think to talk about. Basically what I'm doing right now. We're waiting another 3.5 minutes for this jump to happen, and I'm basically just randomly talking about stuff until the jump happens. And then we'll focus on getting the next one in, and then we'll focus on getting the next one in, and then the live stream will be over. But that's another one of the reasons, like, that's another one of the reasons why I would like to try to figure out doing some kind of event during these live streams, because it would be much more interesting to, you know, maybe make the live stream more about doing like filming a race between a bunch of people or whatever, you know, SRV races, ship races, whatever like that. I just think that would be a lot more interesting than listening to me babble on about some random topic for an hour. But I am kind of glad that I settled on 3 jumps, because that does put our overall live stream time at right about an hour. And for the most part, I find that I'm able to kind of move from topic to topic and come up with topics for about an hour. By the time we get towards the end of that hour, though, I'm more or less out of ideas. Like I start like grasping for things to talk about. So I did stop playing Path of Exile because I just like a lot of people who talk about on the channel about, you know, or who talk about in my Discord about how they're tired of this game because there just isn't a lot to do. I find that Path of Exile is one of those games that, even though it has a lot to do, it doesn't really have a lot to do because for the most part, it has a lot of options for you to do different things, but realistically, you're only gonna focus in on a certain number of those things, and then you're gonna end up doing those things over and over and over again. And especially, you know, once you get to the end game, and basically you're just doing maps over and over and over again. The maps are all the same, even though, you know, the layouts are somewhat different. They're all the same maps, just over and over and over again. You're constantly grinding it. And you're hoping to find gear, and with this latest version that they came out with, you have a town to manage. And at first, that was kind of cool, but I found that, especially as you level up your town, you start getting to the point where the gold requirement for that is just, it becomes a little bit I don't want to say overbearing, but it requires way more time to earn the gold that you need to keep the workers working and producing things for you than I really want to put into the game. Like, especially for something as repetitive and grindy as you know, going through maps over and over again. I only really want to do that for 30 minutes, maybe an hour at the most, and then, you know, I don't want to have to come back and do it again. So I know that some people were talking about possibly doing a rebalance to make the gold a little bit less onerous to deal with, but I haven't actually heard anything from the actual developers where they said that they were actually going to do that. So until that, even then, I've kind of stepped away from Path of Exile because I got kind of bored with it. But I'm going to shut up now because we have a nice jump happening here. So let's enjoy this as we move into the jump.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All is well so far. We're going to figure it out. Welcome to the stream. Yes, you can play this game in solo mode. I play almost exclusively in solo mode. When I do my live streams, I play in open, though, so that if anybody who happens to be on the carrier can come hang out and, you know, I see them there. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I personally always play in solo mode just because I don't want to. I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to deal with people being jerks and stuff. Finish up this little jump here, then we'll get our next jump scheduled. Is it worth saving up for the carrier? We have to wait. I think I have to wait for this to finish. I love that we happened to have the carrier pointed right at the star. That is awesome. This is a very nice view. We'll get this set up, and then this is the second time that this has like, I have to get out of the chair to sit back down in it again, and then let me see if I can get this. There we go. So I want to make sure that we have 3 minutes to do that. We're saving up for the fleet carrier. So the answer to that question is it depends. Especially with exobiology, it's not that hard to do realistically. It took me a very long time to do it just because I was doing it incrementally. We were only doing like 30 minutes a day of recording. So it took me a very long time, but you could realistically, if you really hit it hard, you could probably save up the money for it in a couple weeks, maybe a month, something like that. It depends, and I say it depends because it depends on what you want to use it for. If you want to, there's a lot of different things you could use a fleet carrier for. I personally decided I wanted to get a fleet carrier because I mostly just thought it was kind of a cool idea to be able to go out into the black and have all of my ships with me so that we could swap out the ship that we're using every week. So, for example, this past week of exploration that we did, this past week I was flying the Mamba. The Mamba is not a ship you would ever take out into the black. Just not something you would do. But because jump range isn't really much of an issue as far as my ships are concerned, I can take the Mamba out, stay relatively close to the carrier, and enjoy flying that around while I'm doing my exploration. The week before that, we did the Courier, I think, or I don't remember what we did the week before that. But I have a bunch of different ships that I can now swap around as we're doing the exploration, and that will allow me to have some variety, because saving up for all of this, we went out to Beagle Point and back, and I was in my Phantom, my Crate Phantom, which, you know, is my favorite exploration ship. It's an amazing ship. I don't mind flying it, but after months and months out in the black doing this, having another ship to be able to being able to swap around into different ships just to spice things up a little bit is really nice. I would agree that exobiology is definitely I don't know. There are other people who have told me that they've made crazy amounts of credits doing combat-related things. So, you know, while I, as an explorer and somebody who doesn't really spend too much time doing combat-related stuff, would say obviously exobiology is the way to go. There are other methods that make as much or more money, from what I've heard and what, you know, anecdotal information that I've heard from people. So I can't say that that's definitely the way to go. It really just depends on what you focus on in your gameplay. If you're a combat pilot, finding combat ways to do it are just as viable as exobiology. If you're an explorer, then exobiology, no question, that's the way to go. So let's hop back in here and see if that timer is down yet. Maybe we can get the next destination. All right, so 25 seconds. Let me, I got to get into my jump list here. Copy in the next destination. Then we can open it. Well, let's wait for I want to wait till it's down at like 10 seconds. 10, all right, cool. Now we can open up the galaxy map. By the time it loads and we get this pasted in and we click on that, should be pretty close to being able to click the button. Hopefully this updates in real time. It might not. I've never actually tried to do it this way before. I have a feeling it's not going to do that. So, yeah. Oh, and of course, it pops me. I keep forgetting don't press that. Don't press escape because it pulls me all the way back out. All right, so let's open the galaxy map back up again. And then we'll pop this back up again. And then do that. And then we'll set the carrier destination. All right, so now we're good. Okay. So now, does it tell me when? I do see your guys' comments over there. I'll be checking those out in just a second. I'm just trying to make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to go. Okay. War is a good way. Well, yeah, like I'm a decent combat pilot, I would say, but I don't really focus on it very much. And so it's not something I really spent much time doing. But I've heard, just like you, that combat-related things can be a really good way to make a lot of money. You just got to equip your ship properly. You got to learn the skills to be able to do it effectively. And there's a lot that goes into that, just like everything else. Um, New game goal. Well, yeah, like I said, fleet carriers were never really something that I thought about as something I wanted to do because it just seemed like a lot of money for something that I was like, well, I'm not going to really use it for anything. But then, I don't remember what maybe I saw somebody else doing it or it finally occurred to me. I was like, well, let's, I need a goal outside of just traveling to places to work towards. And, a 5 billion credit plus fleet carrier seems like a perfect thing to do. So I think I actually decided on that in the middle of our trip out to Beagle Point because I mostly, it was, if you purchase Elite Dangerous, you're good to go. Right. You need to make sure that, well, I don't know. I think fleet carriers are in the original version. So the original version includes the base version and Horizons, and then there's a separate purchase that you have to make to get Odyssey. So it depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to do exobiology, you do need the Odyssey expansion. So you'll have to buy the base game and then Odyssey on top of that. I don't know that you can get it in a package anywhere, but I'm only familiar with Steam. I'm not sure how that works. But you do need to buy Odyssey if you're trying to do exobiology, so it will be more expensive if that's what you're trying to do. Fleet carriers, I don't remember if I'm pretty sure those were already in before Space Legs came out, but I don't remember. Yeah, so I originally started the Elite Dangerous stuff for the channel anyway. I've been playing Elite Dangerous for a very long time. I originally started doing the series because it was Christmas of last year. It was getting around Christmas of last year. It was like December, and they had that little 30 days of arcs or whatever it is that you do where you log in and they give you some bonus hearts and you get a little bit more every day until you get to Christmas. And I decided, well, I've already got the game installed and I'm logging in every day to do this, so I might as well start a series. And I was like, well, what am I going to do for the series? Oh, let's go out to Beagle Point. So yeah, I think I started out just trying to do some videos because why not? I'm already in the game. And then I ended up just continuing to make the videos for it. And then somewhere in the middle of all that, I decided, hey, let's maybe we should buy a fleet carrier and see if we can make that like a deep space fleet carrier kind of thing. And that's why I'm doing it. Oh, appreciate the subscription. Be sure to keep coming back. We got many, many more videos to go. This fleet carrier has to make it to Colonia, and then after that, we got to pick a destination to go to after that. That's like way out in the black, away from everything, because the whole point of this was to be able to take all of our ships far, far, far away. I don't really want to stay in the populated areas. I want to go out and be like Survivor kind of thing. That's kind of the whole point. 4.8 billion to go. Yeah, it takes a while. My recommendation to you is look for high metal content planets that have two biological sources. You generally will tend to find Stratum Tectonicus on that, and if you can get first footfall, that's 90 million credits every time you find one of those. I found a bunch of those on my way out to Beagle Point and back. So yeah, high metal content planets with biology, lots of money, consistent money almost. Take the carrier out the entire outer rim. It's not a bad idea. Just taking it a big circle around the outside. We have to come up with a list of the outermost stars along the outside edge of the system to go to. That's not a bad idea. Just keep going around the extreme outer edges. But I don't know. I mean, that would take years to do with the way that we're doing it here, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying, unless there's a high chance of coming across something super interesting out there at the very farthest edges of the galaxy, I don't know. I like, part of the whole exploration thing is that I'm hoping to come across some interesting visual things to see, because you watch some of these videos from other content creators who have found like pink planets with pink geysers and purple biology and stuff, and like, I want to find some more stuff like that. I want to find some more black holes. I want to find some I want to find some really cool stuff to see. And so yeah, I'm hoping that the outer rim would have some things, but at the same time, I want to find some cool places to go and some cool things to see and all that kind of stuff. Rim to the top. Well, yeah, okay, rim to the top. But the problem is that when you think rim, though, you're thinking of the edge, like the outer edge. And in a spiral flat galaxy, the top and bottom of the galaxy isn't really a rim. It's more of just like the upper edge and it's not. I don't know. It's not really an edge, because like a rim is, it's like this is the rim of your cup, right? Like, so I understand what you're saying. There's an upper limit and a lower limit. I'm a grammar person, and I unnecessarily do that. I unnecessarily get hung up on words. Yeah, I notice. I notice, especially in the first few weeks of doing exploration on our way out to Colonia, that I was struggling to get first footfall as well. It's happening a little bit more now that we're kind of more towards the middle. I don't want to say we're in the middle, but we're closer to the middle of our trip. So first footfalls are happening a little bit more. But yeah, you definitely want to get a ship that's capable of doing some serious jumping, and then get away from the bubble to have the best chance of actually, you know, finding first footfall and the stratum tectonicus and all of that stuff. I am a big fan of the fact that we ended up pointing right here at the star. It looks very nice, and we're getting some kind of weird refraction right here that looks interesting. Reinstate. Yeah. I mean, it depends on how you do exobiology. So for me, I don't like to use my SRV for that because, in my opinion, it just takes way longer to get into your SRV and drive around. And in your Anaconda, you're going to have a hard time. Landing in some of the rougher terrain. So, which means that you're going to have to land far away, and then you're going to have to drive over to it or run over to whatever it is that you're trying to do. I personally, even in medium ships, I find that I struggle a little bit trying to land close to some of the samples that you want to try to find. I guess you wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that for stratum tectonicus if that's specifically what you're looking for, because that's usually out in flatter areas where it's easier to land. But the size of your ship does make a difference when it comes to trying to find places to land, and preferably landing right next to whatever samples it is that you're trying to take. I know that the developer's intention is that you were supposed to find a place to land your ship, then you come down into your SRV, you drive around for a while looking for samples and all of that. That seems like an unnecessary waste of time to me. I'd much rather just fly my ship around, skim, see something on the ground, land right next to it, exit my ship, scan it, hop back in, and continue on my way. You'll note that a lot of my more recent episodes had a lot more negativity in it because I've just I get kind of tired of the unnecessary extra steps, but I'm trying to shy away from those comments. So hopefully that was a much better way of stating my concerns, but I don't want to dwell on the negative things about this game anymore because it kind of makes me irritated. So I'll step back away. But the point I'm trying to make is that while the Jumpaconda is great for jump distance, when it comes to, depending on the way that you prefer to do it, when it comes to actually getting down and doing samples and all of that kind of stuff, it does make getting on the ground kind of hard sometimes. Jump cooldown on the carrier. It depends. It's generally around 15-ish minutes. My understanding, based off of what other people have told me, as we've been doing during these live streams, is that it depends on the server load. So I guess one of the reasons why it needs to have a countdown in the first place is because the server actually needs to update your position, and they need to have time to synchronize all of that or something. I don't really understand how it works, but there's something that has to do with the server needs to make an adjustment and physically relocate your carrier to wherever it is that you're going. So my understanding, what has been explained to me, is that the carrier refresh time can change depending the amount of time it takes to actually move your carrier from one place to another can change depending on how busy the server is, how many other carriers are trying to jump, and that's why they have the little countdown here that tells you when you're going to jump. I think that the cooldown is the same, like the actual cooldown for the drive is the same every time, but this estimated departure, I believe, changes. It's usually around 15 minutes. I think the minimum time is like 15 minutes. But the time can be higher depending on how busy the server is. That's how it was explained to me. So that's how I'm explaining it to you. Yeah, like I said, you can use whatever ship you want. I'm just making sure you're aware that landing that big old beast is going to be a pain if you prefer to be the kind of person who skims across the ground. If you like running your SRV all over the place, then that's not a problem. That's not something you really need to worry about. But I would say that the Diamondback Explorer is an excellent ship for doing exploration because it's small and nimble. You can still have an SRV on it, or it allows you the flexibility to be able to land in a bunch of places that the Anaconda is not going to be able to do that. It's just not capable. Now, I have put forth a personal preference thing that I would like them to do, to where they do some kind of like rappelling option, basically making it so that they wouldn't really have to do anything other than just create a hover mode that keeps it right over the ground. And then rather than that blue shaft showing up with you on the ground, the blue shaft shows up on the ground and your ship's like 100 meters up or something like that. And you just teleport down to the blue shaft just like you do on the ground, except now your ship's hovering, and then you don't have to worry about trying to land your ship. That would make using larger ships much more manageable without having to resort to always getting in the SRV to do things. Exo gear. What do you mean by exo gear? You're talking about for your ship or for your suit, or what are you talking about? Very loud outside with the party. But we are about to make our second jump here in a few more minutes. So that's good. Oh, okay. You just need the Artemis suit for that. The Artemis suit comes with the exobiology scanner. And then for your ship, yeah, you just need the suit. Obviously you can do a bunch of engineering for your suit. How much longer did we say we have? 3 minutes? I don't think I'm able to access my suit loadouts from here. I think after we do the next jump, I'll hop out of the seat and head over to a terminal, and then we can take a look at the upgrades that I did. I initially didn't buy Odyssey because I wasn't really interested in the first-person combat elements of it. Don't talk about that on... I can't necessarily disagree with that. It is a horrible grind fest to get this, or at least it was for me. I did 3 different suits, and I engineered them all with all 4 available upgrades for all 3 of those suits, and I upgraded 2 different weapons up to the point where they had maxed out upgrades for everything. So I'm fully aware of how much time it takes to get those done. Fortunately, there are some guides out there that will help you locate great places to find materials in a more efficient manner. There are some tools out there that will help you search for that. I can never remember what the name of the tool is, but it will actually, you can install it on your computer, and it will actually show you what you need to get which upgrades you need. It will read your profile or whatever to see what materials you already have and how many more you need. And then you can click on an item that you need, and it will give you a list of places where you have a high chance of going to find that stuff. So there are ways to streamline the process, but yes, it does take a very long time to do that. It's a very, very long process. But like I said, I was originally not planning on getting Odyssey because I'm not interested in, if I want to play a first-person shooter, I want to play a first-person shooter, an actual first-person shooter. I wasn't really interested in their kind of, no other way to say it, half-ass version in space. So I initially didn't get the game because I wasn't particularly interested in that part of it, but then I found out that Odyssey had a bunch of visual upgrades in not just the on-surface parts, but just the space parts as well, and I ended up getting that. And then after that, I somehow convinced myself to start buying suits and upgrading suits and doing that kind of stuff. And then the way I am is once I get started on a project, I have this obsessive need to complete the project. So I ended up spending a lot of time doing that, doing something I really didn't intend to. That kind of ended up working out, though, because now I have an Artemis suit that's fully upgraded and ready to go and able to do all different kinds of stuff. I also have an infiltration suit that's fully ready to go, and it makes it so I can get into pretty much anywhere without being detected if I really want to. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I find that going after that stuff is always, I'm the kind of person that once I get rolling, I'm like a juggernaut. I just don't stop. But getting me moving is one of those things that's just like, it takes a lot of internal effort and discipline to get me off my butt and actually starting to do a project. But once I get into a project, once I get into a goal-based thing, I generally become very, like, I keep going and keep going and keep going, and I don't stop until I'm done. All right. Get the second jump in. We'll get the third one scheduled. Then we'll go take a look at the suits. I think I know I've done it before, but I have to assume that some of the people watching this have not seen any of this before, so it allows me to reuse my content over and over again.
3, 2, 1.
And jumping. Whilst that is doing that, I will go into my jump list here and copy the next. And I guess I have to wait the three-ish or whatever minutes it is to put the new information in, but that's all right. It's weird that that sun shaft artifact on the windshield just kind of got stuck there. It never went away. I love that. I love this horn at the end of it. It's just, there's something about it. I mentioned it last time. I'm probably going to mention it every time we do one of these, but it feels like those Viking-style horns back in World of Warcraft. All right, so we're going to get up. We have to wait 3 or 4 minutes before the cooldown's done, and we can schedule our next jump anyway. So we'll head downstairs and go to one of the terminals, and then we'll just do a quick rundown of my suits and my weapons again, just because, you know, maybe it'll inspire somebody to actually spend the time doing that. Was there a... I think there's a... No, there's terminals here. So, we can go into the edit loadout menu here. So, this is my Explorer's suit. I did end up splurging a little bit with some arcs to get the cool little Desperado-style outfit. I like wide rim hats, and I like the cowboy look, so I think it's kind of cool. But, yeah, I upgraded this one with night vision, the improved jump assist, which allows me to jump much farther. And the reason that's important is, if you don't know, is that you don't use any energy once you get up in the air. I mean, obviously, if you're using your booster, you do. But as far as like your physical sprinting energy, that the countdown that happens, that doesn't get used up while you're in the air. So it actually allows you to move much faster at for a much longer period of time, because you sprint for a second and then you hop into the air, and then now, as long as you have boost, you're able to stay up and continue moving farther and farther and farther. So this is a really great thing to have if you feel like you're gonna have to run around a lot, because it allows you to stay at, like, once you start sprinting, there's conservation of momentum, and once you jump and you're using your boosters, once you're in the air, and there's, as you know, assuming there's no resistance or anything. I don't think any of the atmospheres in this game have enough resistance to affect your forward motion, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. You run for a second, you jump, and you're going to keep going at that same speed so long as you don't hit the ground again. And then, you know, once you run out, you sprint for another couple of steps, and by then your physical resprint bar that you can't really see has already recharged while you're jumping. So you're basically able to just infinitely sprint because you're jumping and sprinting and jumping and sprinting. I don't know that I necessarily need... I mean, the reduced tool battery consumption kind of does help if you're going to be on foot for a while, but because I don't really do exobiology that way, it's not really that big of a deal for me. Same thing with the improved battery capacity. These are nice to haves, but I mostly just wanted to make sure I had the improved jump assist. And then I have night vision on all of my suits because I want to have that option available to me. My infiltrator suit here. This is when I need to go get materials for engineering suits and weapons and things like that. This is the suit that I use. I talked for a minute for that, so let me check the countdown for this and make sure, because I don't want to waste a bunch of time if we're ready to go. We got about a minute left, so I am going to we'll talk about the infiltrator suit here in a minute. I just want to hurry up and get this on here so we can get the countdown for that started as soon as possible, because I do try to minimize how long it takes us to do this carrier reposition, because I still have to record another episode after this for my Monday Elite Dangerous video, and so yeah, because I can't really record it before I move the carrier, because then it's out of date. So we'll wait for this to finish counting down, we'll schedule the next jump, and then we'll talk about the infiltrator suit. We're almost there. It's only like another 10 seconds. It's one of the things about how time is relative when it comes to our consciousness. When you're not sitting there thinking about time, it goes by really fast, and then you're waiting for something to happen, and it just feels like it takes forever. All right, so we have that there. Schedule that. Cool. All right. And then, so now I can hop out of this. Oops. Oh, come on. It's because I don't have my window set up the right way. All right. So we were talking about the infiltrator suit. So when I need to go gathering materials, I prefer to do the sneak in and grab stuff method, or like sneak in and grab stuff, and if I need to kill people along the way, then so be it. But I prefer to do the spy method of going to gather materials, where you find a facility that has the range of materials that you're looking for, and then you land nearby, you run inside, grab the stuff that you need to grab, run back out to your ship, take off, fly away far enough where you can log out, log back in, and just do it over and over again. So I basically do the Dav's Hope slash Jameson Memorial log out, log in cycle of operations, and you just do that over and over again, rather than, at least this is before, when I was doing this before the new engineering changes happened this last month or so. I did all of this a couple of years ago, so all of my information is kind of out of date at this point, but this is how I did it, and this is the suit that I used to do that. The extra backpack capacity obviously makes it so you can carry more stuff. The night vision makes it so that I can avoid dudes that are trying to catch me going into their stuff. The sprint duration is actually extremely helpful when you're trying to run away from people, because you'd be surprised, even with this suit, with as quiet as it is, you have one little mistake and somebody catches you, and then you have to run away for a very long time. So yeah. It's kind of a pain if you're not able to run away from them and have a significant sprint duration. So this right here is a very nice mod to have. And then the quieter footsteps basically makes it so that I can sneak up right behind somebody, and they're not going to hear me, because this makes you almost completely silent unless you're just being really stupid about it. I do have this Juggernaut suit that I have for FPS combat related stuff, but I've never really used it because I don't really participate in that kind of thing. All of my suits have night vision. This also has a sprint duration, but this also has a combat movement speed and faster shield regen, which makes you more survivable. But again, I don't really do like specific first-person shooter out in the open doing a bunch of fighting stuff. That's just, I'm more of I like stealthy kind of stuff, so this is the suit I generally tend to use. Now, as far as the weapons go, I have these two, for my infiltrator suit anyways, I have these two plasma weapons, and the first, you can see the first two things are mods that make it silent. So you have the noise suppressor, which basically makes it so that anytime you're in an atmosphere, it significantly reduces the noise that your weapon makes, so that it makes it much harder to hear. Audio masking is basically, it's a technology thing that your weapons have, so that when you fire, the speakers in nearby people's helmets actually make a noise so that they can hear it and see. Audio masking, I think, just turns that off or significantly reduces it or something like that, because there's no sound in space, right? So if you fire something out in space, nobody can hear you. But if you're wearing your helmet, you can pick up the discharge or whatever, because the weapon produces something that makes a sound, and the audio masking kind of removes that. For my rifle, I have the scope and an increased reload speed, it makes reload faster, so that I have higher accuracy. I can shoot people from very far away. And then for the pistol, I have improved hipfire accuracy, so that when I'm in that situation where, oh crap, they caught me, I'm able to quickly just shoot them. Or it makes it so I don't have to aim down the sight to be sure that I'm going to hit them, and then increase magazine size. I do have a shotgun for my Juggernaut suit, and I did go ahead and upgrade this one with the noise suppression and audio masking. Basically the same thing I had for my pistol, just to make it a little bit better. But again, I don't really use this suit pretty much ever. 90% of the time, I'm using this Explorer suit, because this is what I spend most of my time doing, exploring, exobiology, that kind of stuff. And then when I need to go grab some materials, I'll grab this guy here. So, all right, that's all that stuff. But as you can see, I have lots and lots of upgrades on my suits, and I did it back, when engineering was still the thing that everybody complained about. I actually haven't done anything where I've seen a change in the way that the engineering works, because I'm guessing that those were things that were done to different aspects of the engineering map collection process that I haven't participated in. So like Dav's Hope is pretty much the same as far as I could tell. I didn't see any extra materials there. The Jameson crash site, someone mentioned that there was more points from that you can scan there, but it's still the same process. You land, you scan, you log out, you log back in, you scan, you log out. Just do that same thing over and over again. I didn't see the extra data points that you were able to scan, but it's kind of a moot point now because I don't know when the next time we're going to be back in the bubble is. So I'm not really all that worried about it. Yes, there was a change. There was a major change released in the last few weeks where they supposedly made engineering maps much more abundant so that it would be much less grindy to get it done. So if you have waited until now to get that stuff done, you're going to have it easier than people who did it before. All right, so we are. I mean, we're always going to be next to the star. It's just always kind of a question as to whether what direction we're going to be pointed. But yeah, nice little view of this. Nice little view of the star there. I do want to go check out the. I do always try to go check out the bar just to see, because you never know if you might be in like a multi-star system, and sometimes you might be able to see one of the other stars from the thing over here to the left. So let's just go check it out, and then we'll run back upstairs and wait for this to be done. Usually it's like this though. I mean, we're getting a nice little view of the Milky Way though, so that's nice. We got lucky and we're pointed in the direction of that, and you can kind of see the star over here. Actually, not a bad view. All right. So yeah, now we're just waiting for this last jump, and then that'll be it for our live stream. I do need to decide which ship that I'm going to be taking next, though. We're able to access our hangar here, I think. So yeah, we can can I access the shipyard here? Okay. So yeah, so last week we used the Mamba, and I think the week before that we used the Courier. And then the very first week we used the Phantom. We used our standard Explorer. So now we just got to decide which ship we want to take for next week. I'm thinking maybe we'll take the. I don't know. I haven't decided. I mean, we might take this. We might take this. It has a really high jump range, but it's also a really small ship, so it might be nice to kind of go back and use this again. So since we're waiting for the jump to happen, we can run out and take a look at that. Because what else do we have to do? I'm running out of things to talk about. And we're almost done with our jumps. So it's kind of, we're at that point where it's starting to wind down. I have said that, and I know I'm not the first one to say this, but this looks like very insect-like to me. I mean, I don't know specifically what insect it looks like. It looks like a moth, I think. This reminds me of like a moth. I think I finally nailed down what kind of insect this reminds me of. It reminds me of like a moth. I think it's mostly just because of the shape of the head here, and just the way the wings kind of come down. I don't know. The GFC stands for Gunthrek Fleet Carrier. Yeah, grasshopper. Grasshopper, locust. Okay, yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that. Down to 7 minutes. 7 minutes. So yeah, we got to start thinking about where we want to go next after Colonia, because I mean, I know we still have like many more weeks to go, but it's one of those things that if we wait till the last minute to think about it, we're not going to have an idea. So I want to get to Colonia. I want to go all the way out there. We still have. Let me see if I need to bring up my spreadsheet for that. Let's see, fleet carrier route. We still have. Let's see, after this week, if I can. I don't know why my spreadsheet's taking forever. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, almost like 11 weeks. With doing 3 jumps per week, we have about 11 weeks left of this journey to go. So, I mean, we still have some time to figure it out. I'm not really trying to make it a priority, but at the same time, I have learned in my years of experience that if you procrastinate too long, you start making bad decisions. So we need to start putting together a list of places that we would like to go after this that would be super interesting, that we think would be super interesting. So I am open to suggestions. Down to 5 minutes. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and take the Diamondback out for this next week, because it's a nice small ship that should be easy to land, and it'll be a nice difference from the Mamba. Also, if the spreadsheet that I had said that there's supposed to be icy rings in our destination, the spreadsheet actually does tell me whether there's going to be tritium hotspots there. We don't necessarily really need to worry about that, though, because our current commodity market still has a fair bit of tritium in it. We still have like another 525 sitting here in the commodity market. I just kind of put it in there as extra storage. And after today, I can pull probably, well, I mean, how much do we have? How much do we still have in the tritium depot? Let's take a look at that. I still don't think we're going to use all of that. Where's my, we still have, after this jump, oh, it tells us right there. So we'll have 735 after the jump. To be perfectly honest with you, I could wait until after next week's live stream to pull the last 525 of that out. And then after we use all of that up, then we have to start doing some mining. So I'm not really too worried about doing mining at this point. I feel confident that the ships that I brought along that were intended to be used for mining are going to be able to keep up with it, so long as I commit a little bit of extra time during the week to go and do some mining. I can generally get about 100 tritium an hour out of the ships that I have. Obviously, if I was better at mining and more efficient with it, I could get more out of it, but I tend to be pretty casual. I'm not super focused on it. I generally have something else that I'm doing while I'm doing that, so... No, yeah, it only, like, I have pretty much everything that you can have, like, minus a couple of facilities, and it only uses 100 and something per jump, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Obviously, a lot of people would prefer to not have to do the mining part of it. But if you're going to do a deep space carrier kind of thing, I have to imagine you have no choice but to get pretty comfortable with doing a bunch of mining to keep it going. Because unless you can convince somebody to to haul a bunch of tritium out to you, you're not going to have access to stations and stuff to buy the tritium from them. Obviously, along the route to Colonia, there's plenty of stations. There's like a highway of stations, as far as I'm aware, where we could do that. And that's one of the reasons I decided to go ahead and make Colonia the first route, so that if I ran into any issues and ran out of tritium, I hopefully had some kind of a safety net that would allow me to just, take my cutter and just run over to a station, pick up a bunch of tritium, and come back. But ideally, I feel pretty confident that, once we get to the point where we're out in the black and staying out in the black, there's that. Once we're actually staying out in the black, then, I'll be able to mine all the tritium I need to do because I don't really foresee ever doing more than 3 jumps at a time, mostly because I'm trying to do them during a live stream, and I don't really want that live stream to be like 4 hours or something stupid like that. Like, I wouldn't be able to talk that long, and so unless we're going to come up with something to do, like the Galactic Racing League that I've been kind of pitching around, the live streams probably aren't ever going to be more than, say, about an hour, so that we just have the time to get the 3 jumps in. I try to make it as interesting as I can, but, you can only listen to somebody talk for so long. Get this last 2 minutes down, and then we will be done with our live stream for today. So, yeah, there's always that. Yes, I do have Vista Genomics, and I also have the cartographer thing. I forget what it's called. But yeah, you can sell all the exploration data I sell right here on the carrier, and then I get paid for it, and that's how I'm paying. That's how I'm paying for my weekly upkeep. The upkeep on this thing with all the modules that I have is like 33 million. So, yeah, I go around, do my exploration, and then when I'm done, I come back to the carrier, head into Vista Genomics and sell that off. I sell all my cartography data off at the cartography data vendor here on the carrier, and then you're all set. So, yeah, we're going to get this last little jump in. We're almost there. We're almost there. Oh, yeah, I need to update the current location is always up, or is going to try to always be updated in the Discord under the channel information. So let me paste that in there now. We'll save the changes because we're about to move there. I always have to remember to do that as soon as I think about it, because if I don't remember, I'll forget, and then that becomes a problem. It has old information and people can't find it if they're looking for it. All right. So yeah, we're pretty much done with our live stream. We're going to enjoy this last little jump heading into the next area. But aside from that, thank you very much for joining me for this carrier reposition. We'll be doing it again next week on Sunday at 6 p.m. Same as this time. Another 3 jumps towards Colonia. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to help us reach that 10,000 subscriber mark. Join the channel as a member if you'd like early access to video, among other different perks that you can get depending on which tier you choose. Or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. So again, thank you very much for joining us for this carrier reposition. Be sure to come back for the next episode and the next live stream. And I'll see you then.